Hi, I'm John Hawkins. I'm one of the designers on Gateway Uprising, a deck building game that's up on Kickstarter right now. I wanted to make a video so that people could see how the game worked, explain what the rules were. Hopefully after you watch this video, you'll be interested in the game, you want to help fund our project, and you want to get your own copy of the game. Alright, so first, a little bit about the world of Gateway, if you're not familiar with it. Gateway is a magical world with a little bit of technology mixed in. Gateway itself is a giant city. It's larger than any city you've ever seen. It's a kind of a hub for the entire world. In this city, it's ruled by these religious zealots who have decided to take magic into their own hands and take it away from everyone else. So this caused conflict with various magic wielders out there. So different groups of wizards have started to band together and they've begun fighting a resistance of sorts against the authorities, and they're trying to take control of the city, and that is who the players are representing in this game. They are these bands of wizards who have begun rebelling against the city guard and the authorities. And in addition, another wrinkle to this whole mess is the Draeger Horde, which is a group of monsters that have suddenly started appearing in the city, and you'll also have to contend with, although so will the city guards. So now digging a little bit into the setup here, as I mentioned, Gateway Uprising is a deck building game. So you'll see there's a lot of cards over here. These are the cards that you can acquire during the course of the game to add to your deck and build, something that will to your strategy. Up at the top, these are the basic cards that are available every game of Gateway. There's the money cards, which you can use to buy all the other cards. There's the army cards. They have a kind of attack and a defense rating. Those are what you're going to be using to fight for control of the districts with the other player, against the other player, and against the guard and the monsters. There's also rune stones. These are magical objects where magic is kind of been concentrated down to this object form, and they represent these one-time use, very powerful spells that can kind of help turn the tide of battle or the game. And then you'll notice down at the bottom, that's the random pool of cards that are different every single game. There's a pool of 20 of these cards. They each have different powers, unique powers, different attack and defense levels. And that's where you'll kind of get a lot of the different strategies that are kind of unique with every session of the game. All right, now if you look over here, these are the city districts here. There's 4 out of a pool of 8, so that will also be another element that changes from game to game. If you have control of these districts, they will grant you a special power that you'll be able to use every turn. Although you can only use 1 power per turn, so having multiple districts, you'll have to make that choice. Just to describe real quick their powers, there's the market town, that will give you extra gold every turn. The central city, which will give you extra victory point every turn. The gardens, which will allow you to draw an extra card every turn. And the tower city, which will give you an extra power every turn. And now power is the main resource gating your card play. You'll notice the money cards, the rune stones, they don't cost any power. They cost 0 to play. However, most of the other cards and the army cards, they all cost 1 power to play. So by default, you only have 1 power each turn. So you'll have to use other cards to increase that power if you want to be playing more than 1 army card or other special cards per turn. All right. Finally, over here, you'll see the guard deck, the monster deck, and the event deck. So the guards and the monsters, they'll be fighting with you and with themselves and the other player. They'll be coming into the districts, vying for control. The event deck is what regulates that, so you'll turn over an event card and it will say, okay, send a guard to the first district, so he'll come in there, and whoever's there, he'll fight. If guards are already there, then he'll just add to their force and make it even more difficult to take over that district. All right, so to start off, another component with the event deck sends the guards and the monsters to numbered districts. So there's little number tiles we have that you randomly mix up and you put onto these districts. There's actually 6 numbers, so some of them are X's and we won't use those, but There's those, but you should put down 2 in every district unless you have the X, and you can just put it aside. So what that will create is a bit of an imbalance. So you'll see this side of the city has more numbers. That means more guards and more monsters are going to be coming to those districts, so they're going to be harder to keep control of as the guards and monsters come in. And the different numbers allow there to be randomness to where they go, but it's even so that not, other than the inherent imbalance that's visible, there's not some random element of like, oh gee, like feel like 5's been rolled like 100 times. All right. So next I'm going to go ahead and deal myself my starting hand. So I'm going to take 7 merchants. These are the basic gold cards. They give me +1 gold when I play them. They don't cost any power to play. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, good there. Now I also get 4 rebels. They're the weakest army card, but they have 1 attack and 2 defense. They do cost 1 power to play. By themselves, not very powerful, but if you get a couple of them together, you'll be able to build up a force big enough to take on your opponents. Okay, and then the last thing is you get 1 of the basic runestones, the lowest level, and it's a random one, so you shuffle it up. Alright, in this case I got the spike stone. That will add +1 attack to each one of your army units. That's actually pretty powerful and could be pretty useful. Alright, so that gives me 12 cards in my deck to start. Go ahead and shuffle those up. Alright, and then in addition, the guards start in control of each one of the districts, so we're going to draw 1 guard into each one of the districts. So there's a watchman, he's got 1 attack and 2 defense. He's also like a rebel, pretty weak. We have the guard captain, 2 attack, 2 defense, but his special power is that he calls another guard in when he comes into play. So another watchman's going to help him out in that district, so that's going to make that one a little bit tougher. Down at the Tower City, we've got a Dias Templar, 2 attack, 4 defense, starting to get a little bit more powerful. And then down at the Gardens, we have an Elite Guard with 3 attack and 2 defense. You'll also notice down at the bottom, there's victory points down there. When the guards are defeated by a player, that player gets that number of victory points. So 1 victory points for most of these weaker ones, 2 for the Dias Templar. The main way that players collect victory points in the game is through fighting with the guards and with fighting the monsters. There are other ways, like the Central City, which gives you an extra victory point every turn. You control it. There's a magical orb over here, which will also generate you a victory point when you play it, and along with several other ways. But fighting for control of the districts and beating the guards and the monsters is one of the main ways to collect victory points, and the winner of the game is the player that has collected the most victory points. So that's an important part, is building up your army and fighting for control of these districts. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and deal my 6 cards. 6. Okay, so first off, I have a rebel. Like I said, I only have 1 power to start, and the rebel costs 1 power to play, but now I have a rebel in my army, so I have 1 attack and 2 defense. And then I also drew my runestone, the spike stone. That costs 0 power to play. When you play it, it just goes down next to your army in front of you. It stays there until you play it, so even if the turn's over, it can stay there. Once you play it though, it gets trashed and totally discarded from the game. Alright, and then I also have 3 merchants, which also cost 0 power to play. They each give me 1 gold, so I have 3 gold. So I can use that to buy a Saloran cart, which would give me 2 gold when I play it, or I could use it to buy a Witchmaster, who would give me extra power and some gold. So I think I'm going to use that to buy the Witchmaster this time. It goes in the discard pile, along with this rebel that I had in my hand. Couldn't play him, he gets discarded. I could attack with my rebel right now, thanks to my spike stone, so I think I will. I'll go ahead and attack the market town. There's a 1 attack, 2 defense watchman. The rebel also has 1 attack and 2 defense, so he doesn't have enough by himself. But I'm going to play the spike stone to add 1 attack to him, so now he has a 2 attack, 2 defense for this turn. He defeats the watchman, he gets discarded. I gain a victory point, And I also put my marker on Market Town. I'm now in control of it. I don't get to use its power immediately. I have to wait until the next turn, as long as I still control it. However, another thing though is if an event card comes up and someone comes to attack the Market Town, I have to use my whole army to defend it. So I can't, pick and choose like, oh, this guy will defend or whatever. And it's the same way on attack. Like if I'd had multiple cards, I couldn't say, well, only this one guy will attack. You have to put your whole army out there. And basically, just to explain combat a little bit better, you add up the attack values of all your cards and the defense values of all your cards, and then you add up the attack values of where you're attacking and the defense values, and then the damage is applied at the same time. If you're playing against another player, they choose how that damage is applied, so they can choose which one of your cards will live and die, and the same goes for you. As long as you defeat all the defending army or guards or monsters, then you win, even if you don't have an army left. Now, if you don't defeat them, even if you had the better cards, but you couldn't defeat all of them, then you don't win that battle. You won't take control of that district. Okay? So, I'm going to end my turn. It's pretty good for a first round. Deal myself 6 more cards. Now I'm going to turn over one of the event cards. It'll tell me if there's a monster or a guard coming. Alright, 1 horde monster. He's going to District 2, which is Central City, where there's some guards, so that's going to cause some conflict between them. Let's see who we got. We have a Draeger Soldier. He's a 4/4. So he's got enough power to defeat both of these guards, and they don't have enough attack to defeat him, so they're going to get eliminated. He's going to take control of the Central City. So one thing you have to watch out for with monsters is one of the only ways to end the game early is if the monsters take control of the entire city. So that's something that the guards and both players will be united in, even if they're fighting amongst each other, is they don't want the monsters to take control of the city. That would be bad. So right now it's only 1 monster. That's not a big deal. He's not too powerful, so I think it should be okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and now I can start my next turn. Let's see, I have another rebel. I'll use my 1 power to play him. And then I have 4 money cards, so that's 4 gold for each of my merchants. And then I also have my market town plus 2 gold, so that gives me 6 gold in total. I could use that. I could get a teleport stone, which is a special rune stone. I can move all the hoarder guards from one district to another. So with that, I could move this monster over here to that district. He'd be fighting the guard, and then the central city would be open to me. So that's tempting. If I look down here, there's the blunderbuss mage. He's got 5 attack and 1 defense and costs 5 gold. Or the knight of Valdus, who has 3 attack and 3 defense. So do I want more attack? Do I want more defense? It's early. I think I'm going to go with just a little bit more defense, so I'll get the Knight of Valdus and put him into my discard pile. All my merchants come over here. I have my 2 rebels, so I could go and attack the gardens, or the elite guard. He's only got 2 defense. I would lose one of my rebels, but I think it's worth it. You control all the districts. For each turn you do that, you also generate victory points, so that seems worth it. So I'll go ahead and attack. So I lose one of my rebels, he goes to my discard pile. The elite guard, he gets defeated, get another victory point, so it's not a bad thing either. Put my marker on that district, and that ends my turn. Alright, so I'll shuffle again and draw my 6 new cards. Turn over another event. 1 city guard is going to District 5. Oh, that's my district. The gardens, the one I just took over. So that's going to mean I'm going to have to send my rebel to defend it. We have an Inquisitor. Oh boy, he's a 5/5, 5 attack, 5 defense guard. So he's going to defeat my rebel. He's taken back control of that district. My rebel gets discarded. And then it's going to be my turn again. So I think by now you kind of got the basic flow of the game. When the event pile runs out, whichever player has the most victory points will win the game. So it'll end up being this kind of back and forth battle between the different players, the guards, the monsters, and it kind of tells this little story. as you're playing, you know, oh, the monsters, they're going to the market town, like, better go help that out. Or why are the guards, they're only protecting the central city, they don't care about the rest of the town. And then each player, you know, depending on what they're doing, usually players have their favorite district they like to control based on what power it has. So that's basically how it goes. Hopefully, you know, you got a good idea and you enjoyed watching it, and hopefully you'll want to try it. And, you know, I look forward to seeing, you know, what people think of it. So have a good day. Bye.